it's by the advanced mathematical capabilities of the Mayans. For instance, a Dresden Codex, where they're showing very advanced astronomical tables where they can chart the solar eclipses and the lunar eclipses.
When you talk about the Mayans receiving knowledge from ancient gods who came from the sky, their mathematics, their astronomy, I believe that's entirely rooted in fact, because that same story is echoed everywhere. Native Americans, South American Indians, China, all the Orient, India. That story, or some version of it, that gods came from the sky and gave technology to mankind.
Stories repeating over time and across cultures. Eerily similar themes that appear again and again, raising new questions.
I think that we've had UFOs around for centuries, and I think they've surveyed the Earth and even landed on Earth and made contact. There have been some things they've done that we'll say have shaped our development very radically, and I think the biblical religion is an example of how they've shaped our development.
It was a pivotal moment in the development of the Judeo-Christian religion. The great exodus of the Jews out of Egypt. At the head of this mass migration was Moses, who was in turn guided by a mysterious aerial phenomenon.
And the Lord went before them by day in a pillar of cloud to lead them along the way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light, that they might travel by day and by night.
It is this element of the story that is especially intriguing to modern UFO researchers. Just who or what was this protector?
I think it was a very large UFO that was dark during the day, and then at night it glowed and provided light for the encampment below them. And at times it would hover for months, for weeks and months at a time.
The pillar cloud by day and the pillar of fire by night started leading the Exodus. This was clearly an object in the sky that apparently contained some type of intelligent reality. That was in voice communication with Moses during the whole of the Exodus. UFOs are basically playing a game of follow the leader. UFO is the leader.
Though the Pharaoh initially allowed the exodus of the Jews, he changed his mind and charged after them with all the chariots of Egypt and hundreds of his men. It was a chase that led to one of the most spectacular events in the Bible. As the Pharaoh's armies caught up to the Israelites by the banks of the Red Sea.
I believe this reality hovered over the Red Sea and caused the parting of the Red Sea.
The theory goes that the object's extraterrestrial propulsion system was what physically pushed the waters aside, allowing Moses and his followers safe passage.
Then the Lord said to Moses, "Stretch out your hand over the sea, that the water may come back upon the Egyptians, upon their chariots, and upon their horsemen."
If the parting of the Red Sea was done, as I believe it was, by some type of anti-gravitational force, the biblical people wouldn't have understood how to explain that, even if they saw it happening. But I think if modern people had been there to see the same thing occur, they might have given a technical review of what was going on rather than a supernatural review.
Even after escaping the Egyptians, the biblical Israelites faced an arduous journey toward their promised land of milk and honey. Along the way, the pillar of cloud shadowed the Israelites' every move, protecting them as well as guiding them.
The pillar of a cloud during the day is actually providing a canopy. In the area that they were moving, it's a wilderness area, and the temperatures can reach up to 120 degrees, and this went on for 40 years.
I believe the pillar dropped manna from it onto the ground to feed the Jewish people during the 40 years of their exodus, to keep them alive in the wilderness, while what I would call a huge religious conditioning project was going on in the hands of this extraterrestrial reality.
In some modern interpretations, this UFO provided much more than shelter and food. As the Israelites approached the slopes of Mount Sinai, the pillar of cloud again communicated with Moses.
The Lord said to Moses, "Be ready in the morning, and come up in the morning to Mount Sinai, and present yourself there to me on top of the mountain."
When Jehovah landed on the mount, he gave a specific warning to keep people away. Yet he allowed Moses to go in. And Moses went up into the mountain and apparently into the craft that was on the mountain.
Then Moses went up on the mountain, and the cloud covered the mountain. Now the appearance of the glory of the Lord was like a devouring fire on top of the mountain in the sight of the people of Israel. And Moses entered the cloud.
Modern theorists speculate that this time on the mount was spent inside a UFO.
And when he came back down the mountain, his face shone or glowed. The implication is that there's some type of energy transfer going on between human reality and this extraterrestrial reality.
When Moses descended from Mount Sinai, in his hands were the 10 Commandments, the supreme guidelines for his people.
And afterward, all the people of Israel came near, and he gave them in commandment all that the Lord had spoken with him in Mount Sinai.
But if this enormous pillar in the sky was truly a UFO and gave the Israelites the moral framework for their society, what did the ancients make of it?
According to Moses, the individual that was inside the pillar of fire and the pillar of a cloud was Jehovah. Jehovah is the name of the national God of Israel.
Their God was a God of the sky, a God of the heavens, a God who made heavens and earth. I don't think it was hard for the Hebrew people to believe God is in the pillar, cloud, and fire. God is the one in the UFO there.
Some believe the influence of UFOs is not limited to the Jewish Bible, that it can be traced into the Christian faith as well. Thousands of years after the Exodus, the New Testament records the transfiguration of Jesus.
And he was transfigured before them. His garments became glistening, intensely white, as no floor on earth could bleach them. And there appeared to them Elijah and Moses, and they were talking to Jesus.
It was surprising to see Moses and Elijah on the mountain with Jesus, because Moses had been dead for hundreds of years, and Elijah, although he never died on earth, was taken